I know my boundaries. I want to fight Anthony Joshua exclusive because I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua's. I know
he just got knocked out, right?
Yeah. He doesn't have a chin and he has no skill and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends. All this, but I want to fight you.
AJ this morning, he went, listen, of course, I'd fight. I mean, if the question was asked to Jai, would you fight Jake Paul? And there was...
I wouldn't fight him, I'd bash him.
Yeah, but he might do it. He might just do it for, just for doing it, for the sake of it. But obviously we know, listen, Jake creates massive events.
We'll look into the camera and say it directly because it just has to be said. Jake Paul, sir, you are absolutely delusional.
Jake Paul has expressed his desire to face top-level boxers in the ring. And now Anthony Joshua has weighed in. During a conversation with his promoter, Eddie Hearn, Joshua stated that he would be open to the fight. Hearn shared this information, emphasizing that AJ isn't one to shy away from a challenge. While the prospect of such a fight seems unlikely due to the significant difference in experience, Joshua's openness to the idea has certainly captured attention. The question now is whether Paul is genuinely interested in the challenge or simply stirring the pot for publicity. Nonetheless, AJ's response makes it clear that he's always prepared for whatever comes his way.
We're here. I want to ask you a question because the world of media went mental this morning. Anthony Joshua against Jake Paul. Please put this to bed or light the fire. What's going on?
I mean, sorry. This is the first time I've spoken about the fight. To be honest, I look at it and I think Jake Paul against Anthony Joshua. I mean, look, for me, we'd do it for the banter. Do you know what I mean? AJ would fight Jake Paul. He'd fight anyone, to be honest with you. And if Jake Paul wants to step up and fight Anthony Joshua, he'll need the relevant insurance. But, the only thing that was disappointed was he says 2026. I mean, that's like calling someone out. That's like me saying, LA Olympics for the surfing, 2028, I'll be there. Do you know what I mean? Do it in 2025 if you really want to do it. You're not going to get really much better at this stage, but I don't know, those two have spoken. I spoke to AJ this morning, he went, listen, of course, I'd fight. I mean, if the question was asked to Jai, would you fight Jake Paul? And there was...
I wouldn't fight him, I'd bash him.
Yeah. But he might do it. He might just do it for, just for doing it, for the sake of it. But obviously we know, listen, Jake creates massive events, right? You know that's going to create, unbelievable viewership, and no disrespect to Jake Paul, it's a straightforward night's work. But, I like this calling out of Canelo and all this. AJ it's another challenge up there. But, if they're game, why not?
What did he say, AJ, to you about it?
He said, why not? I said, what do you want me to say when I'm asked about it? And he said, tell everyone I'll fight anyone, anytime. It's not a problem for me.
Jake Paul has set his sights on Anthony Joshua, making bold claims that AJ lacks a strong chin, has limited skills, and is too stiff. The YouTuber-turned-boxer took to Twitter to share a picture of Joshua on the phone, captioning it with, "Look who called 2026 Anthony Joshua." Paul maintains that he would easily defeat the former heavyweight champion, sparking plenty of discussion. In response, Anthony Joshua posted a screenshot on his Instagram showing a moment where he was speaking with Jake Paul. This followed shortly after Paul's public challenge, where he confidently declared that he could beat Joshua in the ring. Their back and forth on social media has stirred up plenty of speculation about the possibility of a future fight between the two. In another post, Jake shared a report from Beaver for Sports, revealing a list of potential opponents for 2025 and 2026 that he had sent out on February 10th, just 3 days after his proposed fight with Canelo fell through. One of the names on the list was Anthony Joshua. The article mentioned that Jake was serious about this matchup, and when asked, he confirmed his intent to fight Joshua in 2026. The challenge has certainly sparked strong reaction from both fans and the boxing community, with many believing that Jake Paul's ambitions to face a seasoned heavyweight like Joshua may be overly optimistic and unrealistic.
The real deal respond to me as I tweeted my thoughts about delusion, which again, I think is more about what Jake said about Anthony Joshua and what he'll do to him. That was the more delusional aspect of this. Amanda Serrano said, "At Jake Paul is the truth." Funny, they say he's a fraud for wanting easy fights, then he asked for the toughest fights ever and they say he's nuts. Listen, he was scheduled to fight Canelo Gervonta, and now he's calling out Joshua. Come on, who else is doing this? Oh crap, on second thought, he is out of his freaking mind, you're right. That was more of just Amanda backing her guy, you know what I'm saying, the co-founder of MVP and someone that she really respects. And
adding another layer to Jake Paul's boxing ambitions, reports have surfaced suggesting that he's also set to face Gervonta Tank Davis in an upcoming bout. This news comes after Davis' recent controversial fight with Lamont Roach. Despite this potential clash, Jake Paul has made it clear that his primary goal is to challenge Anthony Joshua, signaling his desire to take on big-name fighters from various weight classes. This pursuit reflects his continued ambition to test himself against some of the most well-known names in boxing, regardless of division.
Gervonta Davis, and she's not the only one saying that. Dan Rafael said the same thing earlier that day, or maybe yesterday. I can't believe that that's true, or if that was really going to happen. Essentially, the idea being, had Gervonta Davis beat Lamont Roach, he was going to fight Jake Paul next. And this is why I say, like, it's delusional, but it's possible. Like, he almost had the Canelo fight, and think what you will about how that went down and how realistic that was going to be. I legit think it was probably close to happening. Now you're telling me there were discussions and potentially, signed to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. And again, I do believe the reason for that is Jake's massive size advantage. Again, that's like a 100-pound weight advantage. How would that even work?
Following his fight with Lamont Roach, Gervonta Davis seized the moment to call out Jake Paul during the post-fight press conference. This surprise challenge adds a new twist to the ongoing story of Jake Paul's boxing journey, further intensifying the speculation around his next moves in the ring.
Who were you going to call out? What was the plan originally?
I think he was here. He came in my locker room.
Shakur Stevenson?
He wasn't in my locker room.
Jake Paul?
Next question.
Man, god damn, that's not the Gervonta I know.
Jake Paul's bold challenge to Anthony Joshua, a two-time unified heavyweight champion, has certainly turned heads in the boxing world. Many observers are surprised that Paul, with his relatively short boxing career, would make such confident statements about a fighter of Joshua's stature and skill.
Jake Paul has just called Anthony Joshua out. Yes, Anthony Joshua, AJ, the two-time unified heavyweight champion of the world. This brother called this man out. Oh my God. Now, in a recent clip on Jake Paul's podcast, I think, he basically said that he will beat Anthony Joshua's ass and he has no skill, no chin, and he's too stiff for him. He also apologized to Anthony, saying, Anthony, I'm sorry, we're friends, but I know I can beat your ass. This guy is tapped in the head. Then again, he almost got a fight with Tank. If Tank beat Lamont Roach when they drew, he would have fought Jake Paul. It was lined up, basically. A lot of people get mad when people say he's the face of boxing. These highly rated boxers want to fight Jake Paul. So, I don't know what to say, honestly. But one thing for sure, AJ will never fight. AJ's too classy for that. Way too classy. He respects the sport of boxing too much to fight this guy. Absolute plonker. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, and make sure you follow for the most up-to-date and sharpest boxing news and content on TikTok.
The boxing community has been quick to react to Jake Paul's comments about Anthony Joshua. Critics have pointed to Paul's loss to Tommy Fury, questioning his credibility in evaluating Joshua's abilities. One Twitter user summed it up by saying, YouTube boxer Jake Paul, who lost to Tommy Fury, says heavyweight Anthony Joshua has no chin, no skill, is stiff, and that he would beat him. What is this guy talking about? Meanwhile, Anthony Joshua has shown some openness to the challenge. Reports suggest that Joshua told his promoter, Eddie Hearn, listen, I'd fight him. While this indicates Joshua's willingness, many in the boxing community consider a potential fight between the two to be unrealistic, given the significant gap in experience and skill. Some observers have even gone so far as to describe the idea as delusional, questioning whether the matchup would truly be competitive or legitimate.
Well then, it looks like Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul might be in discussions to fight. They were both on a call to each other earlier, and the viral video went round of Jake Paul saying he would knock out Anthony Joshua. If I'm being completely honest, I think Jake Paul would actually be lucky to make it out alive, and I'm actually being dead serious. I think Jake Paul would be lucky to make it out of the ring with Anthony Joshua alive. Tyron Woodley literally had Jake Paul on skates and had Jake Paul panicking for his life. Imagine what Anthony Joshua would do. Look at what Joshua did to the last non-boxer he fought in Francis Ngannou. That is not going to end well for Jake Paul. But look, let's be real here. This fight should never happen. It's an absolute disgrace to the sport if it does. And yeah, there's got to be a lot of backlash if this actually happens, because it's actually probably worse to the sport of boxing than what Fury in Ngannou was when it came around, or, you know, yeah, or Mayweather McGregor. Like, you know, it can't happen.
MMA fighter Anthony Smith has weighed in on Jake Paul's approach to boxing, suggesting that Paul targets legendary fighters primarily to secure big paydays. Smith implies that Paul's strategy revolves around provoking established names with trash talk, which leads to high-profile fights that bring in substantial financial gains. This perspective aligns with observations of Paul's fight selection, which often includes older or less active fighters, something that has drawn criticism from boxing purists who argue that his matchmaking lacks authenticity and competitive merit.
Like our legends, older, shorter, smaller, past their prime legends that have spent their entire careers running their bodies into fucking car accidents, and then we hold these guys near and dear to our heart. And then this fuckhead just pulls them out of fucking semi-retirement, and then is
Jake Paul's ambitions go beyond boxing, as he has also expressed interest in facing MMA star Conor McGregor. Paul has claimed that his boxing skills are improving, while suggesting that McGregor's abilities are on the decline with age. This assertion has been met with skepticism, given McGregor's extensive combat sports background and impressive achievements. Paul's comments reflect his confidence and his ongoing strategy of challenging high-profile athletes in an effort to boost his own profile within the world of combat sports.
McGregor's done?
I think he has to come back and fight, but he needs to win.
Will he fight you?
I don't think he will. I think my skill level is outgrowing his in boxing, and I have the height advantage. He can't beat me, and I think he probably knows that. And time, he's only getting older, and I'm only getting better.
Many fans are eager to see a fight between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul, largely because they believe Joshua would easily dominate and humble Paul in the ring. Paul's track record of calling out elite fighters and claiming superiority has made him one of the most polarizing figures in combat sports. While many fans feel that his confidence in challenging Joshua is unrealistic due to the significant gap in experience, skill, and weight class, the potential fight has still sparked huge interest. Some are hopeful that Joshua would silence Paul's bold claims by defeating him inside the ring.
You have got to be taking the mick. Jake Paul has called out Anthony Joshua and claims, I will fucking beat Anthony Joshua's ass. You know what? I want this to happen, just so Anthony Joshua could just absolutely decimate this man right here. So first he fights Tommy Fury, a legitimate professional boxer, and he loses. Then he fights an OAP and Mike Tyson and beats him. Obviously, he's nearly 60 years old. Then he goes to try and fight Canelo, which fell through, thankfully. Then he tried to fight Tank Davis, which again fell through. And now he wants to fight Anthony Joshua, a legit world-level heavyweight boxer. Anthony Joshua is someone that I've always looked up to and probably one of my favourite boxers to this day and age. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind Jake Paul here and there, but there's just things he does in the sport that I don't agree with at all. And fighting Anthony Joshua, listen, I'm all here for it, just to see him get knocked clean out. The fact that he thinks he can compete with these high-level boxers, even though he lost to Tommy Fury, is just laughable. But how long does it take for Anthony Joshua to knock Jake Paul out? I'm saying 5 seconds.
Anthony Joshua has finally shared his thoughts on Jake Paul's growing influence in boxing. While acknowledging that Paul lacks the mature experience of a seasoned boxer, Joshua admitted that Paul has been beneficial for the sport in terms of financial success and lucrative paydays. Joshua recognizes that Paul's ability to generate attention and sell fights has attracted a new audience to boxing, something that traditional boxing purists may not always appreciate but can't ignore.
Jake Paul? Yeah, good. Great for boxing. Good luck to him. He's trying. Zero amateur experience. Throwing himself in the deep end. I guarantee you he'll probably learn a lot more than a lot of fighters will that are just half-hearted with it. Man's throwing himself in the deep end, putting himself under pressure. You know, when you can deal with that amount of pressure, you have to get better at it. So yeah, good luck to him. Good luck to him.
Interestingly, Jake Paul has long expressed admiration for Anthony Joshua, even calling him one of his favorite fighters. Despite his recent trash talk, Paul has previously praised Joshua for his achievements and boxing skills. However, Paul's latest statements indicate some frustration with the boxing industry. His claim that there's too much emphasis on money and politics, rather than on making the most exciting and significant fights a reality.
Everyone's been wanting to see happen. Who will be the king of the United Kingdom? And who will be the queen of the United... Too soon? I'm praying that boxing doesn't happen to this fight. And what I mean by that is politics. People trying to take more money than they deserve. Fuck the money. Get in there. Make fucking history. This is one of the biggest fights that could happen over this past decade. Make it fucking happen, Eddie Hearn. Make it fucking happen, Frank Warren. Make it happen, Tyson. Make it happen, Anthony Joshua. We don't need fucking excuses. Don't let boxing ruin this fight. Get in the fucking ring and fight like men.
Jake Paul has confidently declared himself as the only real fighter in boxing, claiming that he's the one who truly brings excitement and energy to the sport. In contrast to some traditional boxers who dismiss YouTube boxing entirely, Anthony Joshua has adopted a more measured perspective. He recognizes that YouTube boxing has been beneficial for the sport, bringing in a fresh audience and boosting overall viewership. Joshua acknowledges that fighters like Jake Paul have introduced boxing to younger fans who might not have otherwise shown interest in the sport.
What do you make of this YouTube
10 out of 10.
boxing scene?
I'm telling you, it's good for boxing because I'm saying it's showing people you can fight someone that is well-known, credible, can fight, marketable, without a championship and have that same effect early on in your career, and you can still get all the rewards anyway. So I think that they're showing guys, oh, hang on a minute, there's so much potential in boxing regardless of championships. And I think it's good because now people start taking more risks early on. These guys coming into the game are changing the landscape for the better, showcasing that if you have a business mind on, marketable, creative, content driven, obviously talented, you can generate big business and do great things.
Jake Paul has developed a pattern of calling out boxing legends, offering them lucrative paydays, and then trash-talking them after their fights. Despite his first professional loss to Tommy Fury, Paul continues to position himself as the biggest draw in boxing, maintaining a strong presence in the sport spotlight.
Who is the most power you've ever felt in a fight?
I would say Tommy Fury. It's the shots you don't see, so Tommy was a little tricky. Mike's punches I could see coming. He was strong, but he didn't land anything clean. So I honestly didn't feel Mike Tyson's full power, but that's good. I mean, you don't want to, so.
I feel like he lost confidence second round. Like he stopped giving his all.
He just started surviving.
When asked about the most power he's ever felt in a fight, Jake Paul mentioned Tommy Fury, saying it's the punches you don't see that hit the hardest. He noted that while Mike Tyson's punches were strong, he could see them coming and didn't feel Tyson's full power. Paul admitted that Tyson's confidence seemed to wane after the second round, as he shifted from attacking to just surviving. One of the most controversial moments in Jake Paul's career was his decision to call out Mike Tyson, a former heavyweight champion and one of the most feared fighters in boxing history. At the time, Tyson was widely regarded as being far past his prime, which made Paul's challenge even more contentious. While Paul eventually won a fight by decision in a different bout, many fans were outraged by the idea of him calling out an aging legend like Tyson. The backlash was intense, with many believing that Paul was disrespecting the legacy of one of boxing's all-time greats.
Wasn't the Tyson-Jake fight, wasn't that amazing?
Yeah. It's amazing they got paid so much money for that.
25 million and 40 million?
I think 20 and 40. Yeah, I think that's what I'd heard. You know, which I'm happy Mike got the money, and I'm happy that he didn't get hurt. That was my fear, that it was going to be a real fight and he was going to get hurt.
You've known him for a long time. I've known him for a long time.
I love that dude.
Me too.
And he was a larger-than-life figure in my childhood.
Truly, me
when
too.
I was a kid, when he was the champ, it was like, people don't understand what a champ he was. Like, he wasn't just the heavyweight champion of the world. He was an executioner. Like,
Truly.
Every fight was just a matter of how long was it going to last.
Which fight it was that I went to go see a couple of fights, and I actually went to go see Julio Cesar Chavez fight, and that's when I met Tyson in the green room.
Watching Netflix on Friday night, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson?
Yes, I was. But what did I make of it? I think commercially and a business sense, thought it was absolutely fantastic. Both men made a ton of money. So best luck to them. Congratulations. As far as the boxing fight, it wasn't a fight. It was a tip and tap. Don't hit me, I won't hit you. Circle the ring a little bit. Make it look good. That's all it was. So I don't really make too much of it.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.